Okay, hola, buen camino. Here we are, May 2026. We got back from our French Way Camino in October, so it's been over 6 months. So we've been wanting to do some kind of packing list for a while now, and we're running out of time because I'm leaving for the Portuguese Camino next week. So Lynn's got her all packed up from the French Camino. Mine is mostly full of weights because I'm still in training for the Portuguese, but I do have some stuff to talk about.
This was our second Camino. We learned some lessons on our first Camino, and I feel like, for me at least, it was a better job of packing than the first time. So we're not going to read through our whole list, but we thought we'd just share kind of our approach. I'll put a link to our full packing list in the description.
Okay, like Lynn said, this was our second Camino, so we were definitely more prepared. There's a funny story on the first Camino where on way back day one or even pre-day one, I bought a bunch of protein powder thinking I was going to drink it on the way. And I actually carried it all the way to Santiago and then threw it in the trash because I knew I couldn't get powder on the plane. So, silly stuff like that. And that was 3 pounds that I carried for nothing. So, we didn't do anything crazy like that this time, but we did definitely make some improvements.
Go ahead. One other thing about this Camino is we took longer. We took 46 days and we took 38 days the first time with a few rest days in there. And so what I noticed on the first Camino is by the end of the day, I was absolutely ready to take my pack off. It was a little too heavy. So while we were planning this one, I was super focused on not carrying as much weight. And we started with our packs. So we both got new packs for our second Camino.
Right, I don't even remember the pack that I had for the first one. It was a great pack, but it just needlessly weighed probably 3 times as much as you needed to. This is my pack I used for the second one. It's the REI Flash 50. It's a great pack, great support, great shoulders, just a couple of pockets on the belt, but it's basically a sack. And it's great. It weighs nothing until you put something in it, of course, and it's great.
I didn't go ultralight, but I did go smaller. My first pack was 36 liters. This is a 33 Gregory Jade pack. It's not as light as Bob's, but it does have lots of little packing compartments. And as you'll see when we get into this video, I'm very much into having a place for everything in my pack. And so this one suited me just fine. It worked great. And I never once on this Camino, at the end of the day, felt like my pack was too heavy. And so that was a win.
Yeah, it's really basic, as most people know when you're walking the French way anyways. And from the looks, the Portuguese as well, is you really don't need to bring things that you can't get there. I mean, it's obviously lots of stores. There's very few places where you can go a whole day without running into things that you can buy if you need. And this goes for, simple toiletry items and stuff like that. Now, I plan if the weight's good, I'm bringing the Briley guide for the Portuguese. It's just a lot of fun, good read, lots of maps and stuff, but we'll see if the weight lets me do it. Currently, this pack weighs 17 pounds. I'm going to put stuff into it, but I'm just not going to go over that once I put all my gear in there, clothes, and so we'll see how it goes. But if I can get the weight for this, I'm going to take it.
Okay, next on my list of things to talk about was something I really liked about my pack was pack organization. I talked to you about how I like the compartments. So I'm going to just go ahead and open up my pack here. And this is super simple, really nothing earth-shattering or incredibly clever, but it worked real well. And so I wanted to kind of share, if I can get my pack open, what I did. So inside this pack, everything is in a dry bag. So everything is protected. Top layer is toiletries, electronics, anything that I might possibly need during the day. Medicine is in here, so just anything that's really not clothes. Second bag is the stuff I'm going to need as soon as we get into the room or, in the near future. So my change of clothes, my after walking outfit. So at the end of the day, I love changing into leggings and a t-shirt, super comfortable. That's in here, extra socks, extra underwear, all of that is in here. And the bottom pack is for stuff I might not need. It has my fleece, my rain jacket, the battery charger for the toothbrush, which you don't need every day, anything that I don't need all the time. So quite often this actually never came out of my bag. But with these three things, everything was protected from rain, worked great. It was easy for me to find things when I needed them.
Great. And I also use dry bags, and I'm going to use, Lynn's isn't going on the Portuguese Camino, so I'm going to use her dry bags for all the same reasons.
For clothes, we took a different approach, and I think we took the same approach, kind of the one to wash, one to wear mindset. So I brought two long sleeve sun hoodies, 2 pairs of pants. I did bring a pair of leggings and t-shirt, like I said, for wearing at the end of the day. And everything that I brought was merino wool, except for my pants. And that works great. You can wear it for several days, dries quickly, it's lightweight. I loved it. I thought it worked great. I did wear, if you watch the videos, you'll see I only wore 2 shirts. It was either this shirt or the light blue version of this shirt. So, but it worked great. I never felt that I was lacking clothing. First Camino, I brought things thinking we would be going out at night, needing to dress up for dinner, and that just never happened. So it was not necessary, and I did not bring it on this Camino.
Yeah, we stayed in all private rooms anyways, a couple albergues, but private rooms, and mostly hotels on both Caminos. Interestingly, one of the drawbacks with that is washing facilities. Obviously in albergues, it's set up for you to hand wash your clothes at the end of every day. Well, that's a little harder to do in a hotel room, little sinks, bathtubs maybe, or showers, but we definitely did some of that. But a lot of times you're near, laundromats or laundry facilities. So that's what we relied on mostly to get our clothes done. So on that note, that's why for me, I'm bringing 4 or 5 pairs of underwear, probably 4 shirts, and these are just really, tech shirts that don't weigh much. And then this is my windbreaker. This is what I'm taking for my only jacket on this Portuguese Camino, which is going to start in May. So the weather should be at least temperate. It might rain, and I'll talk about that later. And then 4 or 5 pairs of socks, because I don't want to have to be doing laundry every day if I can't. I mean, I'll do it if it's available, even if I don't need to, just to stay on it. But hopefully I'll have lots of extras and not have to do that. But again, it's a weight thing. I'll bring as much stuff as I can and still stay under the 17 pounds, which, as you know, you want to stay under your 10% of your body fat. Or body fat, your body weight, and that's just a good guide to stay with. For me, this 17 pounds still feels pretty heavy. So I would like to obviously get us under that as much as possible.
And my pack on this Camino weighed 15.5 pounds, and that worked out just fine. The next thing we want to talk about is, our approach to the weather. So we walked September to mid-October, and you can have any weather at all during that time frame. It can be blistering hot. It can also be freezing cold. We had mornings where there was frost on the ground, and we had days that were in the 90s. So you need to pack layers. My approach was a fleece pullover that I love. I think I maybe wore it once because we had great weather on this Camino, and a lightweight rain jacket similar to Bob's.
Well, this is just windbreaker. This is not a rain jacket. So what I use is this is not the umbrella I took, but it's super similar, and this is what I use for both sun and rain, of course. So this is my go-to. I don't have a poncho. I don't have a rain jacket or rain pants or anything like that. And if you watched our videos, you see, there was a few times we got absolutely soaked. So I don't think anything would have saved you from that. We saw lots of people in ponchos, and obviously they were still getting wet. So this works for me. That's what I'm going to do this time.
Okay, next topic, toiletries and first aid. Once again, we were super minimal here. Brought just the basics. Let's see, I didn't bring any shampoo or hair products because we were in private rooms. Most places provided shampoo and soap, and if they didn't, we brought some all-in-one soap that we could use for laundry or hair or body wash, or 101 uses for that soap.
Right. I mean, you just buy small amounts of toothpaste and those kind of things. Because again, in the French way anyways, I mean, there's pharmacies everywhere. and you can quickly top up on anything you might need. So, there's no sense in bringing some crazy stuff. Now, we've got our couple of things that we call luxury items that we're bringing, and one of them from both of us was electric toothbrush.
Start over. For medicine and first aid, we took a similar approach. There's pharmacies all along the Camino, like Bob said, so at most, you're going to go a day without running into a pharmacy, unless it's a Sunday. Keep that in mind. So we brought a little case with some basic, over-the-counter meds, some Band-Aids, some blister care, enough to get us to a pharmacy, and that was really it, and that was fine. We didn't use all of the medicine by far, but we had it if we needed it on the trail. Similarly, we brought little amounts of bug spray and sunscreen and hydrocortisone cream in case somebody got a bite.
Yeah, I'm a real attractant when it comes to like gnats and mosquitoes and that kind of stuff. I don't think Lynn ever got a bite. I've got tons of them. Another thing was, we mentioned the hot weather. Well, I've got some, I wore shorts all the time, so I got some heat rash on the back of the legs. If as you probably know, when you're walking on the French way, you're kind of always walking to the sunset. So you got the sun at your back, so you kind of got to cover your neck. We wore neck gaiters, and then you need some sunscreen for sure. And I needed bug spray. Lynn didn't. I got a lot of bites, so it's something to think about if you need that kind of stuff.
Or I wanted to talk about blister care and our approach to blisters. I like Compeed. Some people hate it. Some people like it. Everybody has a different approach. But we brought enough Compeed, like I said, to get us to the next pharmacy. The one thing I wish we had brought was lamb's wool. I think that would have been really nice for protecting your feet. I did get a blister. It caused me a little bit of pain leaving Lyon, but nothing that caused me to have to take a rest day or anything. But yeah, definitely have some blister care available. And if you get a hot spot, stop immediately and deal with it.
Europe is no different than home. If you train for the Camino and you're doing, I can give it to you in steps, 15 to 20, 30,000 steps a day to get ready for the Camino, and you don't get blisters at home, you're probably not going to get blisters there. So I think that's a good way to look at it. But again, they're geared for it there on the French way anyways. You'll walk through a small town and there'll be stands with all kinds of blister cares ready to go, and you'll see people using them for sure. One of the things we also haven't mentioned, but we both carried this same waist pack, and you keep your credentials in here, things you need to get to quickly, maybe your wallet, and you can keep it on you at all times, even when you got to set your pack down in a restaurant or a bar or anything like that. So these are real handy. This is almost too small for the credential. You can get bigger ones, of course, but I think they're super handy and almost a need than a want.
Yeah, and inside here I was going to share, we both have this wallet too that we both really like, this little Chum's wallet, a little tiny thing, lightweight, and the way it clips to the waist pack, which I love, so I know I'm not going to lose it.
Okay, and then, hydration. A lot of people, got all kinds of ways of doing it, whether they're the bladders inside a pack. What we did is we just carried, water. And depending on the stage or how long it's going to be, you could have a couple of these or 3 or 4, or however hot it's going to be. You can buy 1 liter bottles, some kind of electrolyte like Aquarius or that kind of stuff. But this is what works for me. A lot of people use the fountains you'll see in the towns and stuff to refill their bottles. I personally just go with the store-bought. Well, the wind just blew over the camera, so I'm going to start over with water. This is how I do it. I'll carry as many of these like half-liter water containers and then refill them. They don't really take up a lot of space. I've got more space in this pack than I'm going to use. So, things like this can easily be packable. I think Lynn does something similar. Different ways of doing it. We use trekking poles. Here they are. I plan on doing nothing but carry on the way to Lisbon. So I'm going to have to buy poles there. It's just too much of a chance to try to put these on a carry-on. They're really nice poles, and I know you can get cheap ones there at like Decathlon stores. That'll work just fine. And if I can't get them back on the plane, it's not a big deal.
Maybe we should talk about how we got our poles there this time. So for this Camino, we brought one piece of luggage on the plane with us, and our poles went in there along with clothes to change into when we were done in Santiago. We flew to the Camino through, landed in Madrid, train to Pamplona, and then bus to Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, spent the night in Pamplona. We had our luggage shipped from Pamplona to Casa Iver in Santiago, so it was waiting for us there. And that worked super good. We just left it at the hotel. We did not have to box anything up or go find anything. He sent the label to us. And so that's how we got our poles this time. And like Bob said, it doesn't make sense for just one person. And poles are readily available all along the Camino.
Yeah, we didn't use any carriers for our gear on a daily basis. We was able to, just carry everything on our back day after day. So we can't, no advice on how that works. As far as we both wore these hats, I'm going to wear them again this time. And then, I mentioned it earlier. The buffs for the neck. It's just good. Keep from rubbing, keep from getting irritated on the neck. I love them. So a lot of people wear them. So again, I would recommend that. Tech, you want to go into the tech?
Yeah, so we knew we were going to do filming on this Camino, and before we left, we were, considering bringing our video camera. We've got an Insta360, and we made a last-minute decision to just film with our phones, and I think that was a great decision. You just pull the phone out of your pocket and record, put it back in. It didn't interrupt the flow of the Camino or the walking, and I think the quality was just fine. To support that, we brought the phones. We brought a tripod that also works as a selfie stick. It's lightweight, sort of. We each brought a battery pack. I think for the two of us, that was more battery packs than we needed. Probably could have gotten away with just one. And then the regular stuff, chargers, adapters. I had one, and I'll put a link to it in the description, that had two USB outlets in it. So I could charge everything on one plug, which was nice because the accommodations, rarely would we have more than two outlets.
Yeah, obviously for Americans, you need an adapter for European outlets. The voltages are similar enough to where that's not an issue, but you definitely need adapters, and they're cheap to come by. So that's not a big deal. They don't weigh a lot. And, when two people are walking, you can split the weight of the tech and, share things. I'm not going to have that option on this one, so I got to keep it real simple. You don't need a lot. Again, you're in Europe. You can buy anything you need there. These are my, once I get done walking for the day, just cheap old plastic, cushiony type slides. I got them at Costco. I think they were $10. You see a lot of different kinds out there. What's the one everybody wears?
Well, the Crocs. Everybody wears Crocs.
Crocs are real popular.
Yeah, I have something similar. Mine are in fact Crocs. They're not those Crocs. They're these super lightweight Crocs. When we walked in 2023, we each brought heavier weight sandals. I brought my Tevas. I can't remember what you brought, but they were heavy. The idea was if we ever needed to walk in our sandals, they'd be available. We never needed to walk in our sandals. So this time, lightweight was the key. These are super lightweight. They worked great.
Shoes. We both wore Topos this last time. I'm going to wear them again. They were great. First time we wore Hokas. But for me, they discontinued the model I was wearing. I couldn't find anything that fit good, so I switched to Topos, and they were fantastic. I did the French way the second time at 0 blisters. So they were great. I mean, you can't beat that, right? So, yeah, we're about to wrap this up before we get rained on. We obviously got a lot smarter than the second Camino, and I'm about to go on my third. I've got no fears. No mysteries about it. I'm not worried about anything. So, I know the more you do, the better you get. Yeah, there'll be a link in the description for our packing list. Nothing complicated. It's just regular stuff.
There is very little you need that you can't buy there.
It's just all about walking every day. Buen Camino.
Buen Camino.